Hello everyone, welcome back. Today's video is a makeup tutorial for my current go-to confidence boosting makeup look. For those of you that might be new to my channel, my name is Risa, and I was a professional makeup artist for more than 20 years before becoming a full-time content creator here on YouTube about a decade ago. Last month, on May 19th, I turned 52. And the first time I did one of these go-to confidence boosting makeup routines was back when I was 48 years old. That video was titled Feeling Great at 48. And I went back and looked at that video and wow, have things changed. Not only my makeup style, but also my feelings toward aging, I guess. I still don't love all of the changes that are happening to my face and body and mental state, but I still feel like I am more positive about aging than I was even just 4 years ago. Maybe it's because around 47, 48 is when I first started noticing changes, and now I'm just more used to them. And I've been playing around with different makeup styles, different makeup techniques, and at the same time, I've been encouraging you, my viewers, to do the same, because as the years go by, we do need to try different things. Products that worked for us a few years ago might not work for us now. So in this video, I'm going to show you my go-to look that makes me feel the most confident. It's not no makeup, but it's not the full glam I wore 4 years ago either. You may have noticed that I've switched up my background once again. I always feel like I need to switch it up every couple of months. Let me know if you find that lamp in the background being on distracting. So I'm going to start with some eyeshadow base. This is new to me. It's from Gerard Cosmetics. I bought it on Amazon because I saw another mature content creator recommending it. It's called Dream Canvas Eye Base, and it comes in this little pot. And I learned my lesson the first time I used it. A little bit goes a long way. I used way too much the first time, and I mean, it was still fine, but let's just say I wasted a lot of product. So even this is a little bit more than I probably needed. So why do I call this confidence boosting makeup? When I wear this makeup look, I truly feel like I look my best. I feel like my features are enhanced. I feel like I'm not overdone. I'm not overly made up. Of course, that is subjective. And also, since 2018, I have learned what my best colors are. Now, that might come as a surprise to many of you, being that I was a makeup artist for so long. Well, I guess I technically still am. I just don't work on clients anymore. Believe it or not, I was never really trained on seasons, like seasonal color palettes. I trained with Laura Mercier, I trained with Bobbi Brown, I trained with some of the top makeup artists in the industry in the 1990s, and we really never discussed color palettes. So it wasn't until color analysis became pretty popular on social media like Instagram and TikTok, where I finally decided that I wanted to figure out what my season is, my color season. I've always considered myself a neutral skin tone, to have a neutral skin tone. And I am going to complete this thought, but I am going to show you the palette I'm using today. This is from Sigma. It is their Ambiance palette. Recently, I have been shopping my stash, and I had truly forgotten just how good Sigma eyeshadows are. So back to my color season. I have always considered myself to have neutral skin, a neutral skin tone. However, gold does look better on me. As you can see, well, you'll see later in the video when my hair is down, and you will have seen in the thumbnail photo that I have golden blonde hair. Ashy blonde doesn't look good on me. What I'm getting at is that I finally learned that I am a light spring. Now, this video is on the internet, so of course, there are going to be people disagreeing with me, saying, oh no, you're a summer or you're a bright spring. But I have done lots of research. I have talked to lots of people who specialize in color analysis, and the majority agree that I am a light spring. And ever since I started wearing clothing and wearing makeup in my color palette, I feel like I look so much better. I never really realized how much, especially when it comes to clothing, wearing colors against your palette can just drain you of your color, can make you look older. So I highly encourage you to find out what your color season is. And of course, just to make things more complicated, there are subcategories within each season. So some people might think, oh, she's a spring, but there's light spring, bright spring, true spring, warm spring, but I think that's enough on the color palette. I used the shade Day Lily and a reference number 27. And as you saw, I just blended that through my crease. I started on the outer corners and then blended in back and forth in a windshield wiper motion. So instead, going forward in this tutorial of telling you what shade I'm using, I'm going to have it on the screen. I'm actually going to add a little bit more and look straight into the mirror and press right through here on the hood of my eye. I do have hooded eyes, and if you struggle with applying makeup to your hooded eyes, I encourage you to check out my hooded eye playlist. Lately, I have been keeping my eyeshadow looks pretty minimal. I don't spend nearly as much time on my eye makeup as I used to. And as you can see, I'm patting on a darker color, but I'm bringing it down beyond my outer corner. So it definitely looks weird. And I do have a video on this technique specifically, if you want to check that out. And it goes more into detail about why I do this. Well, basically, it's because my eyes are hooded and they turn down on the ends and I've got that fold. So I find this is one of the best techniques, aside from just putting tape here, to give me that lifted look that I want, to give my eyes definition on the outer corners, but make sure that I'm not missing any skin due to the weight of the hood. So I bring it down below and we're gonna clean it up. So no worries at all. And this brush I'm using is a reference number 13. And all of these products and the brushes will be listed and linked in the description box of this video. Now I'm going to take a flat brush. This is from one of my favorite brush sets ever, the Morphe Makeup by Ariel. I use this in almost all of my videos. Just to review, I put a neutral shade through my crease and just above, a darker brown on the outer corner, and now I'm going into a beautiful shimmer. Yes, you can wear shimmer at 52. Popping that right on the lid. Just a very nice, soft sparkle. But actually, I do want a little bit more pigmentation than this. So I thought I was dipping in, this is the one I dipped into right here. I thought it would have a little bit more pigmentation, but I think I want to go into this one right here. There we go. I just need a little bit more color. I haven't used this palette in so long. I probably should have swatched it first to make sure that I had an idea of what colors I wanted to use, what shadows. And as you can see, it's working just fine over the shimmer. I'm just sort of patting it on. Now, if I wanted more intense color, I could always use my finger. Just go in with my index finger, and that really brings everything to life. And I'm gonna go back in with that first shade I used, this time on my middle finger, and pop that over the top. So that's really it for the eyes. I am going to add a little powder eyeliner that will extend to the outer corners a little bit, but after that, we're done with the eyeshadow. So I'm going to take the dark brown and a BK Beauty number 208. This is another brush that I use in almost all of my makeup tutorials. I am dampening the brush just a little bit, going in with this beautiful, rich chocolate brown, and I'm placing this all the way across my upper lid, very, very close to the lash line. And then I just go in as many times as necessary to get the amount of pigmentation I'm looking for. I just find that powder liner is so much softer and just looks so much nicer on aging lids. Now, as you can see, I'm not going up like I'm doing a wing liner. I'm actually going down, down and out. But I am building up over the fold. That's what's important here, is that there's that fold. Well, it's more noticeable on the other side, but there's that fold. So I'm building up that fold, but I'm going down. And then I do the same thing on the other eye. Now, when I said we were done with the eyeshadow, I should have been more clear. We're done with the eyeshadow on the upper lids, not the lower. Now I'm taking a Q-tip and some eye makeup remover, or you can use micellar water. And I'm taking that and angling the shadow up towards my temples, getting rid of all of that fallout and giving a nice lifted look to the shadow. Now the eyes are all cleaned up and I'm going to move on to lashes. I always, always, always curl my lashes. And the lash curler I recommend if you also have more flat hooded eyes is this one from Kevyn Aucoin. And then I always, always, always tight line as well, using an eye pencil and taking that right underneath my lashes. Today I'm using L'Oreal's Telescopic Lift. Okay, I'm going to come back to the eyes a little bit later, but now it's time for foundation. I already applied my moisturizer when I got out of the shower. Even though I have oily skin, I'm going to add a little bit more moisture with the e.l.f. Thirst Burst drops. And I am doing this video before going out in the evening, so I'm not applying any sunscreen, but you definitely want to be using sunscreen at some point in your skin prep routine. Now I'm going to let this sit for about 20 to 30 seconds before applying a little pore smoothing primer because I do have large pores, especially through my T-zone. For this video, I am trying to use a combination of drugstore and high-end, so there's a little something for everyone, no matter what your budget is. And there's always going to be substitutions available for everything. I love this Sigma eyeshadow palette, and I think it's a great price, especially for the amount of shadows you get and the quality, but you could definitely find something with similar colors at the drugstore. For foundation, I am going to use a pricier foundation right now, but it is one of my current favorite foundations. It is from Prada. I picked it up during the Sephora savings event back in April, and I absolutely love it. Trust me, I did not want to love it because it is so pricey, although it is refillable. And the refill isn't quite as pricey as buying it with the packaging. I'm using a Haus Labs foundation brush to blend it out, and you'll see why I love this so much. First of all, look at how easily that blends. The color match is so good. It leaves just a fantastic, not skin-like finish, but natural finish, as natural as you know, a medium coverage foundation can be, which I think in this case is pretty dang natural. Now I'll put some on the other side. Obviously, can't have just one side with foundation. If you're still skeptical about splurging on this foundation, maybe get a sample if you can. Sephora is pretty good about giving out foundation samples if you can get yourself to a brick and mortar Sephora store. Now we are all blended. One of my favorite concealers is this one from Sarah Creel. I've been using this for a couple of months now and I really, really love it. I like the consistency, I like the color. It has a little bit of a peachy tone, which really helps to counteract those bluish, purplish tones that we have, well, most of us have, under the eyes. And I start off just by blending it out with my fingers because the warmth of my fingers is really going to help sort of mesh the concealer in with my skin. I was going to grab a sponge and blend out even more, but I'm not sure it's really necessary. Well, clearly I'm doing it anyway. I like to just concentrate on that inner corner by my nose, and then also up here, because I have that little shadow on the outer corner where my lids turn downward. And then once again, spreading and patting. Really make sure you get in there. Get into the side of your nose or anywhere you have darkness on the side of your nose. Okay, now let's contour. For contour, I'm using this one by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and the shade name will be down below in the description box. Actually, why don't I just tell you right now if I can find my glasses. This is Shadow. And then this is my favorite brush for blending out contour. It is the It Heavenly brush number 7. I've been having a more difficult time finding this brush, like to link it when I do videos. I don't know if they're phasing it out or if it's called something new now, but they better not be phasing it out because this is one of the best brushes ever. And I have tried the dupes. The dupes are okay, but I stand by my opinion that this one is superior to the dupes and totally worth investing in if you can. It just blends out the contour so easily. No matter what contour product I use, I always blend out with this brush. So I use obviously the bigger side for the bigger areas, and then I flip it around and I use the smaller side to contour the nose. And then I always sort of take the contour up and into the crease, just like that, up and over. Okay, now that we have all the creams laid down, it's time to powder. And for that, I'm going to use this Too Faced Born This Way Soft Blur Powder. I've gone through so many of these. I love this powder. But again, there are so many excellent options out there for powders, especially for mature skin now. I recently tried the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Soft Pink Powder, and wow. That is a beautiful powder. And also, if you're oily like me, the Jason Wu loose powder is fabulous. The L'Oreal Infallible Blurfection powder, also fabulous. So because I am oily, I am setting pretty heavily. And now I'm taking some setting spray. This one is from Dibs. And what this is going to do is it's going to sort of mesh everything together so that nothing looks heavy or cakey. Then I also like to take a Q-tip and remove makeup from my mole so it looks even more natural. I didn't always do this, but I like to do it now. For bronzer, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear, another brush from the Morphe Makeup by Ariel collection, and just lightly dusting that where the sun would hit. Across my nose, cheeks, forehead. It's time for brows. The first thing I always do is brush up my brows. And now I'm using a brow pencil from Ravi Beauty. It's one of my favorites. And to set my brows, I'm using one of my newer favorite brow products. This is from Bay Brow. Just pick up some of the wax and then brush the hairs up again, trying not to go out of focus. Sometimes, because I'm left-handed, the camera focuses on the closest thing to it. So sometimes I go out of focus. And yes, sometimes this brow gel will, any brow gel really, picks up some of the brow pigment underneath. So I do have to go back in and touch up sometimes. But before I do that, I'm gonna let the brow gel sort of dry a bit. I'm going to take a very familiar product to my viewers. This is the Makeup Forever Face Palette. Love this. I go in with one of the lighter concealer shades. Ooh, I've hit pan. And carve out my brows. And now I can go back in with a pencil and sort of touch up any areas that got lifted. Okay, now we can go back to the eyes. And I'm going to take a little pencil brush. This one is the Rephr 03. And I'm going to go back into that very first shade that I used from the Sigma palette and just run that along my lower lash lines. Do you notice how these warm, sort of caramelly browns really bring out my eye color? And now I'm taking another brush from the Morphe Makeup by Ariel collection, and I'm taking this Makeup by Mario Master Mattes eyeshadow palette and going into the lightest shade in the second row. With my eyes open, I'm looking straight into the mirror and just taking the shadow up a little bit higher, buffing it up just a little bit more. I want it to look like a shadow of the shadow. Does that make sense? I didn't want to use the same color I used in the crease. I wanted something a little bit lighter so it looks more like a gradient or a naturally occurring shadow. I'm just trying to get rid of some of that heaviness from the hood. Okay, in the mail the other day was a package from Kosas with their 3 new Blush is Life blush shades. And from the first time I tried this shade, which is called Wavelength, I was in love. I already thought the Blush is Life blushes were amazing, but this color, especially for summer, is gorgeous. So I'm going to smile and place that on the upper portion of my cheekbones. Yes, I still believe in the old school method of smiling and placing the color on the apples of the cheeks and then blending it back. Now, obviously, if you have a very round face shape, you might not want to apply blush right to the apples of your cheeks. You might want to have it more on the outer portion. But my face is oval, so I do like to apply it to the cheeks and upwards. And I love blush, so if you think I'm applying too much, I'm gonna do me and you do you. And lately, instead of highlighter, even though I have a ton of highlighters that I love, that I think are just beautiful, I have been using a blush topper. Specifically this one from Rare Beauty called Happy. It just gives such a beautiful radiance to my cheeks. And I've noticed that it also looks absolutely stunning in photos. Oh, I almost forgot. I still want to put a little something in my tear ducts. I just got this inner corner brush from Rose and Ben. If you don't know who Rose and Ben is, she is a makeup artist, beauty content creator. She's been around for quite a long time. And I'm going to use this highlighter from Lancome. You can use any highlighter or any light shimmer shadow you want, or you don't have to do this at all. But I'm going to take a little bit of this highlighter from Lancome and put that into my tear ducts. And also a little bit onto the inner corners of my lids. And then maybe a little under the brow. This right here is one of the reasons why I do these types of videos. I guess you could call them age-related videos, is because people put, not people, but society put so many rules on those of us over 40, over 50, over 60. You can't wear this, you shouldn't wear that, don't do shimmer, don't wear lashes, don't wear lip liner, all of these things we shouldn't do. But we all age differently. We all have different face shapes and eye shapes. And I think it's important to see women over 50 using highlighter, using shimmer, using a false lash if they choose. We can do whatever we want, but you have to be confident in what you're wearing. So if you feel like a topper, a blush topper like this is going to bring out too much of your texture, don't do it. There are plenty of other highlighters out there that are much more subtle. So you can stay in your comfort zone or you can try something new. This video is to motivate you to perhaps try something new. All right, all we have left is lips and that little half lash, and then I'm gonna go do my hair and give you my final look and final thoughts. For lip liner, I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills in Caramel. And I love a glossy lip, so I'm using the Hourglass Phantom Glossy Balm in Wander. And then I like to take a little concealer, this time using a darker color than I used under the brow, and clean up the lip line. Time for another spray. And for lashes, I already have a couple cut up. I'm not really sure what these are. It says they're from Winx and they're the style Dream, but I think I might use the set that's below that I'm not sure what they are. All I can tell you is that they are extremely, extremely subtle. I used to wear such big, heavy lashes, and then I realized how aging those could be unless you're on stage, doing a performance or giving a speech. But today I am all about the natural looking half lash or just a couple individuals. Okay, here's the completed look in natural light and in my studio light. I'm not feeling my hair today, but I am feeling the makeup. So at least that gives me confidence. And this is it. This is my signature go-to makeup look that makes me feel the most confident. I love the tones. I feel like the eyes are glam, but more of a soft glam. I love a glowy cheek, a glossy lip. The skin looks perfected, but not mask-like. It's not emphasizing my texture. It's not settling into any fine lines. Nothing is giving me a flat, matte, aging finish. So yeah, I am really happy with how this look came out today, and I do feel like it's very true to my signature look. Once again, all of the products will be listed in the description box as well as tagged through YouTube Shopping if available. If you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate you giving it a thumbs up, leaving me a comment, sharing it with a friend. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will consider doing so. I do upload new content at least twice per week. You can also find more content from me over on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok under the same username, Risa Does Makeup. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.